everybody. And yeah, you weren't sure there was going to be a program today? Don't feel bad. I know it's Labor Day, and that means it's time for an unwatched edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine. Welcome to the program. Hello to Brian, who made it to the chat room. But don't be surprised if you're the only one. Everybody's cooking out, basically eating beef. You cocksuckers, I told you not to do that. This is Moohead Radio. I am a cow, and I take offense at that. Last year, if you remember at this time of the year, I lost my cousin Morty to a goddamn Labor Day barbecue. It's all wrong as far as I'm concerned. Greg Smith, did Giuseppe make it? I don't know. Maybe with a woman, not the roster. Hi, Cindy Sanders. How you doing? Hammer Time says, no, he did not. And, of course, Brian is silent on the subject because he was adamant that Giuseppe should have made it. Well, so much for that.
Well, Brian's opinion. Can I make a comment about Brian's opinions?
No, I don't even want to start.
Not allowed.
They're about as useful as a nipple. Wait a minute, I said it the wrong way around. About as useful as a tit without a nipple. That's what Brian's comments are like.
No, I mean, we were all wrong about something. This is how I wanted to start out the program with
Everybody's wrong.
I like a mea culpa, you know? It's like my thing in all of this, and I'm going to do this full screen. I'm going to do it full screen, all right?
Kiss the hoof.
Here's what, I'm not kissing anyone's hoof. What I'm doing today, and wash your face, Bronk. I don't know what now. What are you doing, painting your roof? At any rate, boy, was I wrong. The Gillen thing and the Colquitt thing fooled all of us, man. Totally wrong on this. And I hate to swing and miss, but I guess you swing for the fences in Major League Baseball today, and it doesn't matter how often you make contact. I swung and missed at that one big time. So that's my mea culpa. Brian's mea culpa was he, Giuseppe. And
partially mine too. Oh, that's partially mine.
And Chard Avery, all right?
Mine as well. I was on with that.
Rox doesn't have one because she's a deaf mute. And Rick.
I picked Colquitt to stay, and I missed that one by a mile.
Yeah, I mean, we just didn't see it coming, did
we? We were also all wrong about keeping both our kickers, or one of the two kickers. I think we all thought we're going to find somebody else, but Seibert looks like he's the guy.
Yeah, and there's Rox with her crazy-ass voodoo doll. I mean, this is not going to give your people a really good image, Rox, when you're walking around.
That's really creepy.
With pins sticking out, booty babe. I mean, what the?
I didn't even show the butt.
Oh, God.
It blinds. The
first thing I thought of was Mr. Whipple. Please make it stop.
Well, no one's going to mistake that for Pennywise. I guess not.
God almighty. I mean, is there a white one with a skinny little ass?
The white one has a big booty also, but there is a white one.
But the white one, it's fake because it was all done with injections. With Christy Love here, man, it's real. It's genetic. It's junk in the trunk. It's badunkadunk. Whatever happened to that word?
I think it's still around.
No, I think it died with Ricky Lake. I do. I think it died.
It may have. I'm kind of older nowadays, so I'm kind of out of touch with the youngsters.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations ran out, I guess.
How would you describe your butt, Rox?
My butt?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
God, I don't know.
Oh. I thought it was like Sherwin-Williams Cover the Earth, but I could be wrong. About that. Okay. We're not going to tease Rox the whole program. Just about half of the program today.
That's acceptable.
Okay. As long as it's good for you. So, Amsterdam, how you doing? We're still alive here in Florida. It's not going to hit me. It's going to scoot on by Amsterdam. And if you're living up north in Jacksonville, boy, the Jaguars get everything, except the quarterback. Okay, let's start with the program this way. All right. Let's talk about the most recent, and I can't say it's the final 53 because they're still working as we speak. Now, chances are this is what we're going to get. But there was some last-second maneuvering, all right? Everybody knows the Taywan Taylor and Justin McCray thing, all right? But on Sunday, tight end Ricky Seals-Jones, that makes him a barking seal. I had to. Yep. Ricky Seals-Jones from Arizona. Malik Jefferson, that's Lionel's brother. Good times.
He's moving on up.
Yeah, but he had just incurred a temporary layoff. So I mean, these things happen. God, do we have to do this? And KhaDarel Hodge of the LA Rams, KhaDarel Hodge. Now, so that we can explain what made room for these people, Justin Burris axed, Trevon Coley axed, and Drew Forbes put on injured reserve. All right, so the veterans who did not make this team, Ray Armstrong, which surprised a lot of people because of his what he does on special teams. Carl Davis and Brian Witzman also released as part of these deadline moves. So that's probably the most painful way, is to think you made it and then they bring in somebody off of the roster of another team. Ricky Seals-Jones, all right? Ricky Seals-Jones, what can we say about this particular fellow? All right, here's one thing.
Athletic.
He's 6'5", 243 pounds. He played in 15 games and finished the year with the most snaps on his team, the Cardinals, amongst all of their tight ends, which means they didn't have a tight end. He ended up with 34 catches for 343 yards and a touchdown last season. As a rookie, 3 of his 12 catches were for touchdowns. He did have a very good 83.6 grade on 19 pass blocking snaps. However, he had 130 run blocking snaps and only graded out at a 50.5.
Yeah.
Big Chubb is really going to be happy to see him. And I just wonder if the defensive ends who are going to go around him are going to see him in the rearview mirror. The Cardinals lined him up in the backfield on 7 of his offensive snaps, so he's not a fullback. All right. Here's what else we know. He was arrested in July 2018. This is weird. He was trying to use a hotel bathroom despite not being a guest at the hotel. Hotel employees contacted police after he tried to muscle his way in. He was originally charged with assault, disorderly conduct, and the third-degree criminal trespassing, but reached a plea agreement and pled guilty to extreme desire to urinate and defecate.
So wait, was he trying to get into a room, one of the hotel rooms, and use the restroom, or use a public restroom there?
A public restroom. It looks like he was trying to use a hotel bathroom despite not being a guest at the hotel. What a charge that would be. I've done that before.
Yeah, but I don't even want to go with what I was going to say.
Okay, don't. But here's the deal.
You probably guessed what I'm thinking here. If he looked like you and me, he probably wouldn't have had any problem going to the hotel and using that.
And 6'5", 243, who's African-American.
African-American, there was probably an issue with that somehow.
I guess there was, because they called police in on him. The thing that's weird about it, Rox, is that I did the exact same thing. Went to a hotel that I didn't have, and I wanted to use the bathroom, and I didn't have room. And they allowed me to shit in the lobby. So it's, no, I paid. Okay, I want to make that clear. I paid because Jewish people do pay. It's just about we don't pay as much as other people think we should. All right. Now, the story about Seals-Jones, he was a big-time 5-star recruit wide receiver at a high school. He was the number 2 ranked athlete prospect in the country and number 1 prospect in Texas. So this guy came with a high school pedigree. He chose Texas A&M, but not before other schools had made several big offers. A top 20 program allegedly offered Seals-Jones and his family $300,000 in cash, use of a luxury suite during the football season, 8 season tickets, $1,000 per month for Seals-Jones, $500 for the family, and the opportunity to use a restroom anytime he wanted. Thank you.
Ricky, don't lose that number.
Seals-Jones' father, Chester Seals-Jones, claimed that the cash was actually $600,000 and that 2 other schools actually offered to double it. Yet here he is, barely making an NFL roster. So that's who Ricky Seals-Jones is. All right.
So taking the double offer there.
Yeah. Now I can. There are Kaderil Hodge is a receiver, but barely.
Can you spell that?
Khadarel. Kaderil. That's one of those names like Watermelon Equa.
Well done.
Thank you. Kaderil. I mean, yeah, it sounds like somebody who's stuttering.
These are great Dorsey pickups, aren't they? Only John Dorsey would find these guys and put them on.
Well, he joins Taywan Taylor, but his career is mostly on special teams. The feeling here is that Ray Armstrong's place is being replaced by Kaderil Hodge, who's also a special teams guy, but at a position where we obviously need some depth and they need to develop some people. He caught 1 pass for 3 yards. All right. That's it. I mean, it was all special teams. He got 85 offensive snaps was all he got during the course, but he got the most special team snaps and the fastest path to CTE of any of the Rams wide receivers. He had 177 special team snaps and totaled 5 tackles. And again, he's an athlete. This seems to be something that is consistent in what Dorsey is doing. He was a dual threat quarterback in high school, and he went to Alcorn State, which is famous for their medical school. Excuse me.
Steve McNair too, right?
That's true.
Dual threat quarterback. That's code too, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve McNair. It's a shame he ended up dying in a shotgun. Yeah, it's really, life has cruel ironies, doesn't it?
Everybody's dead.
Yep. But redshirting as a freshman, he ended up leaving for Hines Community College, which is behind the other community college, where he transitioned. Oh, to wide receiver. I'm sorry. We can't just say the word transitioned anymore because there's a gender reassignment generally associated with it. And that's the subject Rox is very well spoken on, is transgenderism and transitioning.
Wow.
No response for that. Good.
Not at all. Now people are really going to wonder. Not just about her. That led to an offer from Prairie View A&M, where he ended up earning all Southwest American Conference or Athletic Conference honors as a senior. He ended up with 48 catches. This guy really is more of a special teams player than he is anything else. Kind of a tough cut for Trevon Coley. But, the thing that's really interesting about what's happening with the Browns is I think that in his own way, Dorsey is just getting his own people on the roster. All right. Tight end Seth DeValve gone. Brian Price, defensive tackle, gone. Lindsey Pipkins, gone. Greg Joseph,
gone. Marmalade, gone.
Niedermeyer,
gone.
Only one 2019 draft pick was waived. That was the 7th round guy, Donnie Lewis Jr., who'd been hurt throughout camp. It's interesting because there was a very good article, and I want to see if I can.
It couldn't have been on Cleveland.com then.
Probably not.
We put the me in media.
Akron Beacon, of course.
Here it is.
Oh, really?
This is interesting.
Oh, I doubt it.
Only 9 players remained on the Browns roster from when Dorsey was named the general manager back in December of 2017.
Yep.
All right. So we already talked about the longest tenured Browns. We already talked about that.
Yeah, Charlie Hewlett and Kirksey and the other guy.
Yeah.
There was only
That third guy.
Charlie Hewlett, yeah, the long.
Charlie Hewlett, long snapper.
Yeah. All right.
Petonio, Hewlett, and Kirksey.
Here is the Browns 2017 draft. Looks good. All right. Especially if you look at what Dorsey converted Sashi Brown's mistakes into. All right. His number 1 pick was Myles Garrett. Good. The number 25, well, you know, Peppers gone, traded for OBJ. Slight.
Yeah, that's an upgrade.
Yeah. David Njoku still there. Number 52, Deshaun Kaiser. Oh, yes. Traded to Green Bay and now released from Green Bay and playing
Oakland.
Another Chucky disciple. And we got Demarius Randall, who was a bust in Green Bay, and he played well for us, and Deshaun Kaiser is still looking for a home. And then number 65, Larry Ogunjobi, right? Sashi Brown, for his part, had picked up 14 players in 2016. Only 2 of them are left, Joe Schobert and Rashard Higgins, number 99 and number 172. So they were virtually throwaway picks, and they remain. Some that Sashi Brown picked, Nassib, Sean Coleman, Emmanuel Agba, they've gone to other teams, but none of them really appears to be destined for any degree of greatness. And of course, the quarterbacks, it's amazing. The Browns had 3 of them in 2017. They were all cut last week. Cody Kessler from the Eagles, Kevin Hogan and his heroes from the Broncos, and Kaiser.
I mean, think about Hogan was, what is this man doing here?
Well, here's a better one. 2016. Who were the quarterbacks in 2016?
Oh, Kessler, not Kessler.
That's one of them.
Kessler, Seneca
While you're
Wallace.
still here, did he leave?
Thad Lewis?
Thad Lewis.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. 2016.
Kessler. Oh.
Who is the starter?
Luke McGowan or Jake McGowan or
In 2016. Josh McCown retired. All right. Robert Griffin III.
Robert RG3.
He's alive.
Kevin Hogan, Kessler, and one more that you've forgotten all about. The Charlie Whitehurst.
Charlie White.
Oh, yes.
Unbelievable.
I was going to say that South Carolina kid we had a couple years ago.
Oh, I remember him. Shaw, was that his name?
Or Brogan or Broby.
It was something Shaw. I don't know his
Shaw.
first name.
Yeah.
Oh, Connor Shaw?
Yeah, that was him. Here's what's left from Ray Farmer's front office, EIEIO, Betonio, Kirksey, and Hewlett. From Sashi Brown's front office, Treader, Garrett, Higgins, Ogunjobi, Schobert, and Njoku. So that's what it is to this point. I thought that was interesting. This guy, Dorsey, is putting his stamp on this team. So everybody went nuts, by the way, on Twitter. Everyone went nuts with the whole Greg Robinson thing. We cut Greg Robinson? God bless you, please. I mean, if that's what we're down to, it's like I was sitting there going, come on, get Trent Williams, get him. Don't re-sign Greg Robinson, get him. Yeah. Now everyone's relieved that Greg Williams is back, and it was just a maneuver so that Drew Forbes could end up on injured reserve and eligible to come back in 8 weeks. The answer to the question that we didn't have on the last Moohead Radio program is, how did we all get here? No, the question specifically was injured reserve. How does it work now? 2 designated players who were put on injured reserve can come back after 8 weeks.
And they are Philip Gaines and Drew Forbes.
Yeah, but I'm just saying every team can, have 2. The thing that's interesting is that DJ Montgomery wasn't one of them.
No.
And that I find really odd. I mean, he was by far the best of the rest as far as the wide receivers in preseason.
Oh, he only had like 3 or 4 catches. He looked good on those couple plays. But, I mean, I'm so sick and tired of all the people like, why did we cut Braxton Miller? He looked good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that. Did anybody try and talk Derek off the ledge?
Well, Derek disappeared because, again, his big swing and miss. We're all entitled to a swing and miss. The problem with Derek, he's young, and he's right-wing Republican, and he's convinced he's right about everything. Worst combination is a Hitler Youth. Worst thing, because they can't be wrong, and they're wrong. All right. Braxton.
The thing about Hitler Youth, though, is they usually grow out of it, unless you're Brian. But anyway.
Hey. I like Brian. I do.
I love Brian.
I miss Brian, because he's not able to get on the program, and I feel badly. And I'll be damned if I'm going to take cheap shots at him. He's a good guy deep down.
He can respond back.
He's a bit misguided, but there's a lot of misguided people. He's got a really good heart. I can tell you that because he loves animals as much as I do, especially when Eric Burden was with them. Once Eric Burden left the band.
Just wasn't the same. Just wasn't the same.
Yeah, it's not in its place, no. If it's the last thing we ever do.
The same thing was true of War. Yeah. War, no, that was Edwin Starr. That's different. No, War was
good
the
song though.
What is it good for?
Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
No, I'm getting into this shit.
Good God, y'all.
Yeah, so no, what I was going to say is War had Eric Burden originally in front. Spill the wine, dig that pearl. Remember that song?
Yeah.
And that was cool.
That was
and then all of a sudden he left and we end up with Low Rider is a low rider. Yeah. And then it got worse. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? And meanwhile, Eric Burden saying, God damn, at least Brian liked the animals. I don't know what these people. And the interesting thing is the guy who was Henry Higgins, Rex Harrison, he could talk to the animals.
Yeah. He did little though.
Yeah. So at any rate, here's Freddie Kitchens on Braxton Miller.
Oh no, here comes the weird Bill Clinton accent.
No. This is a straight story this time. Was it difficult to release wide receiver Braxton Miller? Quote, Braxton is not here anymore, so I do not want to spend a lot of time on it. Yeah. But Braxton has a future in the game. He is a good player. It is just you have to make tough decisions. And it may not be the best spot for us right now. And that is what we basically decided. What's wrong with Braxton Miller? Usually a coach will say, we really think he's going to be a fine player here, but maybe this is not the guy who can help us right now. Braxton is not here anymore. I wonder if Braxton Miller is a problem child. I really wonder about this because this will be now, if he goes somewhere next, would be what, his third or fourth team?
Fourth team.
Fourth. In a very short period of time. So I thought that was the most interesting comment in the whole presser that he did, because everything else was very much predictable and talking up the kickers and all that stuff. No big deal there. But for somebody who was so gung-ho, anything Ohio State.
Yeah, I feel like with Browns fans who are also Ohio State fans, which is pretty common, obviously, they see one good Ohio State player go to Pittsburgh, and they want every Ohio State player on the Browns.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
That's how they think about it. There's no in between where you have to take all of them or just take the good one maybe, and not every guy's the answer.
I don't know a single Ohio State player who they didn't want. And, you know, the funny thing is, they walk away after getting their ass kicked in the second half of a football game against fucking Florida Atlantic. And yet Frisbee's out there, oh, God, Fields is a beast. It's like.
Calm down, dude.
I know. I mean, did you see Florida Atlantic when they came out on the field? I mean, you could see the feces running down their legs. They shit themselves.
And they got Lane Kiffin as a coach, which is like a bit like having a Harbaugh, but not as good.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin is not a good coach. And
Harbaugh without the khakis.
Harbaugh without any talent.
What does it tell you that they came up with a defensive scheme for Ohio State that they implemented in the first quarter, and within 7 to 8 minutes they were down 21-0, and that Fields ran a simple option play, a zone read type of thing, and went 51 yards untouched into the end zone, that receivers were literally 8 yards in the open catching passes, and that when they went in to the locker room at halftime, they went back to playing a standard defense and actually put some hurt on Ohio State. I mean, Lane Kiffin lost that football game, folks. That was his strategy to start out the game. The team looked like they were unprepared. They were not prepared to play that defense. That's for damn sure. And what I thought was going to be like that other game where Howard lost, and I thought Howard was a school, but it's one guy named Howard. So they lost 79-0.
Yeah, he's the Ducks, aren't they? Howard the Ducks.
Yes, I mean 79-0 they lost, right? But then that was just what a horrible thing. And the only thing I know about Howard University is Roberta Flack taught music there. Wouldn't that have been cool? What a class to go to. Yeah, it's like, raise your hand, and she go, yes, Mr. Moohead. And I say, Roberta, how did Donny Hathaway fit through the window?
Oh.
My question has always been, like, especially since 2015, seeing the top quarterback prospects now, like Lawrence, Tua, and Notre Dame's quarterback from last year, they throw into wide open windows. How do you tell who's an accurate quarterback or just off a great system like Jalen Hurts has in Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, that was interesting, wasn't it? He just kicked
wide open, like 15, 20 yards between them. And it was just, I can't even tell if he's a good passer, because I think most quarterbacks can do that same throw, eyes closed.
Well, I mean, yeah. What does it tell you? From Baker Mayfield to who is the Cardinals quarterback?
Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, right. And then and now Hurts. So good.
Everybody.
Don't you think that would be the headline? Hurt so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good.
Next year's quarterback will be Avis.
Yeah, oh, thank you. That joke stalled.
I got smart.
But yeah, it's like, it makes you think that the Lincoln Riley offense is for real in college, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like wow, that was a shocker. But I was not that impressed with Ohio State. I mean, I knew they were going to win. I mean, Greg Joseph went to Florida Atlantic. What does that tell you, you know? But I'll tell you this, Justin Fields, he was throwing to people who were wide open. And I agree with Brian in the chat room, which is the Clintons were rapists. No, what he said was that he wants to see them against
that comment. Normally that's in there every time.
The Michigan State game or something that would be comparable. Let's take a look at how they do even against Iowa. I watched Iowa play Miami of Ohio, and Iowa didn't look all that good, at least the first half of the game. I don't know what the final score was, but they didn't look all that great. So I want to see them against the Big Ten schools and really make a judgment. I mean, Fields is a guy who's young. He's obviously athletic, but he did get sacked and bumped around a little bit in the second half of that game. So I'm not
pounded on one play in particular.
Yeah, that the linebacker number 36, I forget his name. He got through a couple of times. Oh, Achilles Leroy.
Achilles Leroy. That's a great.
I thought it was Leroy Achilles, but yeah. But Achilles Leroy obviously has a weakness. Oh.
He's the king now.
I know.
Yeah,
so 45-21, wonderful. But I don't like giving up 21 points to Florida Atlantic. I don't like that.
I think the Cincinnati game next week will be a good game. That'll be worth watching. I think Cincinnati will play them quite hard.
Well, I mean, Cincinnati really, doesn't have the caliber of athletes. I mean, what we're looking at in a game like Florida Atlantic, what does it tell you when Florida Atlantic just fair catches every kickoff? That they don't have team speed. You see, when you're a small program, you're just not going to have maybe one or two of your players have athletic, presence, but not a whole roster of them. And that's why we have to really see Ohio State against.
Cincinnati's not a chump team. They'll be in one of these Motor City Bowls or the fucking Hula Bowl or whatever come the middle of December next year. They're not a bad team.
Now, here's another thing. Malik Jefferson, he was one, the laundry business and, the dry cleaning.
He's on the east side.
Or was it dry cleaning, Rox?
It was dry cleaning.
Oh, sorry about that. The laundry one was the Chinese version. I was talking to Rox the other day, and we were talking about what television program had the most spin-offs of any other. This would be a good question to ask on the show. Which
All the Family.
Can you name them?
Is that the answer?
Well, name the spinoffs and we'll talk about it.
Oh, Jefferson's immediately comes to mind.
Archie Bunker's Place.
Yeah, that was another one.
Maud.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
There's
but you're never going to get the others. I couldn't get the others.
Amsterdam says Mod.
Yep, and that's what Rick just said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But there are a few. Go ahead, tell them, Rox. Do you remember?
There was whatever their address was.
704 Hauser.
Yeah.
704 Hauser was the address of the bunker house, but it was Norman Lear's successor to All in the Family's years later, where a black family moves into where Archie Bunker used to live. And wow. There's role reversals, conservative and
oh, I bet that was hilarious.
It was horrific. It was horrific. And
I was obviously out of the country.
And what was the other one, Rox?
Gloria. Brian just said in the chat room, Sally Struthers had one, and hers was Gloria.
Gloria. And that didn't last for very long.
I bet Mary Tyler Moore had a few fucking spin-offs, though.
She had Lou Grant and Phyllis and Rhoda.
And Rhoda's dead!
Everybody passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Valerie Harper.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible. Hey, man. Yeah. I'll tell you, it was, we looked at a bunch of shows. Which show had the spinoff the most years later after the original program?
Full House. 22 years or something.
What was it?
Is Full House up there?
Full House?
Yeah.
What was the sequel?
Fuller House.
Oh, they brought it back after 23 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, well, that's not really a spinoff. That's the same show. The spinoff we're talking about.
Is it kind of like Fat Albert and then the Cosby Show?
No, and we don't talk about Cosby in this program because All right.
The rapist.
This one is one that people don't think of. The spinoff for MASH was After MASH, right?
After MASH, yeah, just a few episodes.
Just a few episodes, and that tanked out. And believe it or not, we found out that there was actually a pilot for Walter, which was Radar O'Reilly's pilot that never got beyond, it never made it to television. It was just a pilot episode.
Yeah, that never aired.
But there is a MASH spinoff.
Was there a show, Trapper John MD?
There you go.
Trapper John MD.
Very good. Yeah, these guys were pretty sharp.
Wasn't
I didn't even
the
know
guy from Bonanza that was in that show instead of Wayne Rogers?
Yeah, that was Pernell Roberts. That's exactly.
Pernell Roberts, yeah. He played Adam, I guess, in Bonanza.
Right.
He's the oldest son.
And Bonanza actually had a spinoff.
Yeah, I think there was Ponderosa.
Right, Ponderosa.
Yeah.
That was many years later. Yeah.
Did we ever do anything other than watch TV when we were young children or what? What a fucking life, you know?
And there were only like 3 networks to watch, so there wasn't much to watch.
Channel 61 and Channel 43 were like fucking major breakthroughs when they.
Why do you think I'm so well spoken about Ironside? I was forced to watch this.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. 3 Cleveland channels and 2 Toledo channels. That's all I had.
Yeah, and you know what the worst part of it is? In Canton, we couldn't get the Toledo station. So, I mean, we were really at the mercy of Cleveland television. And honestly, some of the worst programs in the world I was forced to watch as a child.
Oh, come on. Jim Doney's Adventure Road. Come on.
You know, Polka Varieties was worse. I'm watching a bunch of old, dementia-laden people hopping around in circles to people doing Frankie Yankovic covers. It was, and only I would remember, it's Paul Wilcox, who was the host of the show.
In matching outfits. They all had the same outfit.
And nothing was better than the Gene Carroll show.
Oh,
yeah.
The jugglers, the little girls who were baton twirlers, who would drop their batons and have to run off camera to pick them back up, you know. And then Gene's in there. Wasn't that wonderful? It's like,
yeah. Gene Carroll, Ted Mack without the charm.
Exactly right. And that's what we had to watch. Sundays in Cleveland, not good. Not a good television day. All right. Malik Jefferson, here's some things you need to know about this guy.
Really?
He did really well at the combine. He ran 4.52 in the 40-yard dash, which was the 3rd best among linebackers, the 5th best vertical jump at 36, and the 2nd most bench reps. So, and the 3rd best broad jump amongst linebackers. But he couldn't get on the field in Cincinnati. Now, I don't feel so bad about this because I really don't think Cincinnati, it's just like if we're talking about Oakland. I don't judge how good a player is when they come from Cincinnati or Oakland because or from the Giants with Shermer. You know, there's, you know, I guess what it boils down to is some players just need a change of environment. He only had 11 defensive snaps as a rookie, got most of his work on special teams. He played in 12 games, but was inactive for 2, even though 6 of the.
Hello?
Oh, it's time to run amok again. He is frozen. Oh, he's really frozen this time. Okay, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah.
I am not black. What are you talking about?
Back in black.
Oh.
It's been too long. I'm glad to be back.
God, I don't know why in the world I'd be freezing up, but it's probably improving the quality of this show.
Maybe it's Hurricane Dorian coming by.
Yeah. Malik Jefferson was behind 6 linebackers on the Bengals roster because
God, that sounds painful. Can you imagine?
yeah, 6 of them got at least 150 snaps, which means they couldn't settle on a linebacker, but he wasn't one that he even settled on. He ended up with a toe injury on his only defensive snap in week 14, and it was instantly placed on the IR. You know, according to, you know, Cincinnati.com, that Jefferson struggled with confidence and consistency executing assignments. Despite playing better in the 4th preseason game against Indianapolis, he often looked lost out there. All right. Another guy with a really good resume. He was another Texas prep star. He won the high school Butkus Award winner as the nation's top linebacker.
Butkus?
Butkus, not Bupkis. Bupkis is nothing. Yeah. And at Texas, he was the Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year and was second-team All-American in 2017. But that doesn't mean anything. He looked absolutely lost out there. So, we're going to see what the Browns see in this guy. They're taking chances, it looks like, on athletes. These guys may be special teams guys. Maybe the Browns were not happy in that final preseason game how many returns there were on punts. Maybe they felt they needed to make some changes for special teams. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting.
Well, I think the Scottish Hammer made half the tackles in that.
Yeah, maybe they're just trying to save him so you don't have to make all the tackles.
Yeah, he's getting his shoulder in on everybody. So.
All right. Now, you'll probably notice that Steven's not here.
Oh, where do we send the flowers?
Bill O'Brien, the coach of his beloved Houston Texans, had to explain why they traded Jadeveon Clowney to the Seahawks for a lump of coal. He said they could not come to an agreement on a long-term deal with Clowney. So what did they do?
Give him away.
Yep.
What did they?
Yeah. What did they get?
Well,
the Texans received a 2020 third round pick for Jadeveon Clowney, and linebackers Barkevious Mingo.
They got
return of Mingo.
And
I can't get out of talking about Malik Jefferson, who looked lost out there, without bringing up Barkevious.
Well, his face in the dirt every play because he, can stay up when he tried to engage a passer.
Mingo only pawn in Game of Life.
So
Mel Brooks reference. Thank you.
Thank you. The Texans' 2020 third round pick actually dropped to a fifth once Barkevious Mingo's name was announced. It just devalued the entire trade. I understand everybody's going to dissect how we did it and what we received back and what we gave Seattle. O'Brien said, in the end, we got ass raped, and boy, it didn't feel good.
Explains why I'm standing here at the podium instead of seated.
Yeah, God almighty, bleeding from the butt.
Well, they screwed him over in negotiations, too, because his role at the end was being more of a run guy. And when they tried to negotiate a contract, they argued that he didn't have enough sacks to be warranted a top contract.
Yeah, well,
So, I mean, that's gonna hurt the relationship between the player and franchise for sure.
And later that day, the Texans traded with the Dolphins for Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle, and wide receiver Kenny Stills, and without Crosby or
Nash.
Miami, meanwhile, got first-round draft picks in 2020 and 21, a second-round pick in 21. O'Brien said while the Texans gave up 3 high draft picks, the team felt it had added proven players to the roster. Who does this? So the Texans are a team on the way right into the toilet. So anybody who's a big-time fan of that organization, get off the boat. Unbelievable.
They still have 2 good guys on offense.
And there's Phillips Lawson. Phillips Lawson didn't want any of the kickers that we had. And it was funny that the Vikings ended up taking Colquitt.
Wow.
Sure. Do you think there was some monetary savings by dumping Colquitt and taking the Scottish Hammer?
I think
might have been.
You get younger and it's cheaper. Absolutely. And one thing that I've seen that is consistent about the NFL is that better kickers lose their jobs when they're owed more money and they bring in young, unproven guys.
Yeah.
Let's hope the same happens to Tucker and the Browns sweep him up.
Phillips changing his story now, saying he wanted Gillen.
Well, that's a punter. That's not even a kicker, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's just, yeah.
No, I think
He wanted the field goal kicker from Tampa Bay. That's who he wanted.
No.
And I don't know what happened in Tampa Bay. I don't know who they kept in Tampa Bay. Did they keep Gay or did they keep the other guy? I don't know. Yeah. Well, you got Gillen, and when these kicks start sailing wide left and he gets one or two blocked, this is a risky move. He's got a great leg. I'm not questioning that, but maybe with confidence, maybe we've developed something for the future here,
I think he'll be fine. I think both the kickers will be okay.
I hope so. I really don't have much else to say, but I wanted to end up the program today because it is, after all, a holiday. Maybe, we were talking about Jim Thome about a month ago where, and I was questioning,
What you mean, like questioning that?
And I got a lot of flack for that because Jim Thome is beloved. And, I looked at some other, and it was kind of guilt by association because he was McGuire's best friend. And, I really don't know what the story is, but all I can tell you is when guys get really bigger and have amazing turnarounds, like Roger Clemens. And now I'm looking at Justin Verlander, and there's something suspicious in this, really suspicious.
Well, Trevor Bauer thinks the whole Houston Astros are bent as hell, doesn't he? I mean,
and that's one of the things, the spin rate thing and all of that they're, harping on. Something's fishy in Houston. We beat the shit out of Verlander for years, and his fastball was down to 91. There's no way he's throwing 98 again with that sharp breaking curveball. He just threw his third no-hitter. 14 strikeouts. The Indians couldn't touch him the last time we faced him.
And he's doing earnings too.
Yeah, Rick, you're
longer to the games, which is just, it's not possible.
I mean, what do you think, Rick?
I don't know. You have to scratch your head because his last no-hitter here, his last pitch, I think they said was 97. It's like he hadn't lost any velocity throughout the entire game. And it's like, okay, you were here a few years ago, and now all of a sudden you're here. I can see the ball being juiced to go out, but not to get past the bat. Usually it's making contact with the bat. So you just sort of look at him with a interesting eye.
And I don't know if you saw what happened to Danny Salazar, but you won't be seeing him again.
What happened to him?
What?
I had heard that his outing was terrible. In the minor leagues, and that it is not his groin. He has no arm left. And I'm trying to take a look at his last start. All right, this is the most recent thing. Salazar, who appeared in relief in the fifth, lasted only 2/3 of an inning, giving up 3 runs on 3 hits. He walked 2 batters, threw 2 wild pitches, allowing a run to score, and only 12 out of 22 pitches were strikes. And he didn't hit over 87 miles an hour on the gun.
Wow.
Got Josh Tomlin speed.
You're never going to see him again. He's finished. So, and with that in mind, and I have.
Injury? I don't remember. Was that an elbow injury he had before the World Series?
I want to say maybe
all this?
A shoulder problem.
I forget. It's been so long.
Didn't he get hit by the baseball, or was that somebody else?
No, that was Kluber.
Kluber got hit. I think Salazar was the shoulder.
The World Series run, and he didn't pitch the last 2 series. I remember. I just don't know what it was.
Yeah, well, he's done. He's finished, and as far as finished, so are the Indians. I mean,
God, but you know what? They played 4 games against the fucking White Sox this week. So if they win all of those fuckers, then they
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
The next 3 games are at Minnesota.
They were not even competitive against the Rays. The Rays have our number. They've beaten us 6 out of 7 games this year. There is no good reason at this point with all the injuries. I mean, the headlines that make me just want to scream It's like Indians are getting Jordan Luplow back, and it's like, oh. But I mean, it was horrible. Oh, when Naquin went into the wall, I knew it was an ACL. I knew it was an ACL.
Dr. Boo was all over that ACL tear the minute it happened.
And Bronk, you're right about watching that game that was nationally televised. You said the Indians are going to lose since it's a televised game. I was going to see it.
I don't know whether it was on the whole country in America, but we picked up Dwayne Stats, the other idiot from the Tampa Bay guys.
Yeah, that's what I was watching too.
We had those guys on.
I turned it off because, I mean, it's so obvious how much better and complete a team that, I mean, who are we bringing in? We're bringing in fucking Clippard. I mean, that guy, 3 pitches and it leaves the park. I mean, look, this is and stopped hitting. The Jose Ramirez thing has just drilled a hole in their heart. And now Kipnis has a hand problem.
He always has a
No truth in the rumor that Hand has a Kipnis problem, so we're good there.
There you go. Thank you.
You look for the positive wherever you can. Yeah,
absolutely. But the Indians are just about dead in the water.
It's so unfair that should the Indians actually scrape into a wild card spot, they'll have to knock out either Oakland or Tampa Bay. And Oakland and Tampa Bay actually have to play real baseball teams throughout.
All you have to do is throw Charlie Morton at the Indians and it's over. I mean, it doesn't make any difference. The Indians are not going to score. And
just get a pitcher can throw a breaking ball. We're done.
And Puig is not serious. He's not a serious guy. I mean, he's got talent, but he's not serious. He's just waiting for the string to run out. And the whole team now from top to bottom has stopped hitting, lost their confidence. They're playing tentatively. They're making errors in the field. Their heart has been ripped out of them. You can't expect Plesac and the likes of him to really hold up. The guy is already pitching on fumes because he never pitched more than 136 innings in his life in a season, and he's exceeded that. I mean, it's bad. It's a bad situation. And look, they're going to make a big deal out of Carlos Carrasco coming back, but
it's kind of pathetic, really.
I mean, I'm glad that he's well enough to try to come back, and he's going to have a relief role, but the Indians right now are a shambles, and injuries for a team that doesn't have depth. The most painful thing to watch in the Rays series was watching Jesus Aguilar hit one out in a big home run and watching Joey Wendell rip our assholes. These two things, you just hold your head and say, obviously the Rays can pick them to some degree because people overperform. I saw that Marcus Thames has 17 home runs. Wow. And Aguilar has 10. They've gotten 27 home runs platooning their first base. They have these relief pitchers they bring in, and we couldn't hit a one of them. Nope. So I don't know.
Twins have set a record for most home runs in a season by one team. They already broke the Yankees record from last year, and they've got, I think, 7 players with 20 or more home runs on the team.
Still, do you think the Twins have a chance against Houston or the Yankees? I don't really think so.
Not as long as Houston keeps cheating. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
they are the Belichick New England Patriots of the
that's one thing with Houston. It is their whole pitching staff. It's not just Verlander.
Yeah, the whole team cheats.
There's some science going on there with the pitching coach.
Yeah, I'd like to know and how long the needle is. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. It's over now, folks. You can enjoy your dinners. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Yeah, and we'll be back again on Friday. And by that time, we're going to be talking I'm not doing a pick'em league. Somebody asked me that, and it's like, no, I don't want to go through that. But we will be talking about the divisional games that matter to us. And that's really where we're going to be focusing in as the Browns push on, and of course the Browns game as it comes up. Say goodbye, doll.
She's got a thong on, though, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does have a thong. She's not just naked. She has more class than that. She wouldn't just show up naked.
Yeah, she's got a thong on. That's all right.
And
God, she
shoes.
looks like she's narcoleptic, though. What's that?
I couldn't find her shades.
Oh, all right. Well, God. Her eyes look worse than Roy Orbison's. Thanks, everybody. See you on Friday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads.
Oh.